Hey y'all, I'm Deborah. Welcome back to my channel. Today is the June update for the This is Fantasy project. This is a project through the Fantastic Ladies Collab, and it is, all the information will be down below, started by Allie from Allie over in Wonder in Alleyland. This project is based on all sorts of mythological and legendary creatures, and for some of us, when I finished the original prompts earlier, so I started to roll in different legends and different stories from my area of the U.S. and from the Southeast U.S. in particular, as well as creatures from other places in the world will get rolled in as well. I like to tell stories, and if you want to hear about creatures and stories and stuff and stories, hang around. Hit the subscribe so you don't miss any stories in the future. Notification bells, same reason. And if you like listening to these stories, hit the like. The information on the project in general will be on down in the description box. It started on October 11th of last year, which was National Mythology Day, and will run until October 11th, 2022. Okay, so I had finished the prompts already for that were part of the project. So I had rolled in several from Cajun culture, Cherokee culture, and I got a couple specific to the Southeast U.S. that will be rolling in. All right, I had four products in after last month's stories. I had Rugaroo, which is the Cajun version of werewolf, and I rolled in for that one a dual product because the Rugaroo, as opposed to a regular werewolf that can change only in the light of the moon, the Rugaroo can choose when he or she changes. So I chose a dual product. This is the Stila convertible color dual lip and cheek cream in the shade Magnolia. I've been using this for a cream bronzer. Thanks to Misty for giving me some advice on what to do with this. I have come to the conclusion that cream products are not my favorite. I think it's because it takes a little bit more effort to make them work. It's not something I can do half asleep first thing in the morning and do well. I'll get halfway to work in the car and go, oh, I didn't blend that right nice. But this is, I have actually decided it's not bad. It goes on really kind of scary to start with, but it buffs out really nice and can be a very nice shade. One of the things that I've done with this is use it as a blush bronzer on a no makeup day rather than try to use multiple products. This is a really good product to use that way. I had it in here for 20 uses. I have used it 20 times, and it is going back in the drawer. Let something else have a little bit of love. Okay, so Rugaroo is leaving. The next three I rolled in last month because, they were rolled in. They're stories from Cherokee culture, from Native American culture, from Cherokee tribal stories. And for the character of Spearfinger, she is kind of a boogeyman, boogie woman character. She is always out to try to stick her spear-shaped finger in people and eat them. So for that, I had rolled in a lip liner because it's long and straight. This is the Urban Decay 24/7 lip pencil, glide on lip pencil in the shade Rush. This is a wonderful, very multi-purpose nude lip pencil. I love it. It is one of my favorite shades. Unfortunately, I did not get to use it very much this month because I was trying to finish up something I didn't like as much, trying to get it out of the way. So this one will be getting a lot more attention now that we're into summer, or at least it feels like summer. Still have a week or so officially, but it's in the 90s just about every day here. that's summer. So this started at 9.5 centimeters, and it is 9 centimeters. Yeah, lost a half a centimeter, so 9 centimeters now. So this one is going to stay in for a while. The goal is to finish that one. Okay, the last, well, the second one that I brought in was for the character Deer Woman. Deer Woman is a Cherokee character that she is a beautiful woman from the waist up, but she has the feet of a deer, and she will appear to men who are cheaters or abusive, mistreating women and children. That is their first warning. If they don't change their ways, the next time she sees them, she will trample them to death. So for that one, I brought in something that protects me, and that was the Black Girl Sunscreen in SPF 30. This is one of my favorites. I have not just one, but two backups for this. My goal is to finish this, and it was actually kind of spitting this morning when I was putting it on. So this was going to probably be finished in within the week. I've already been several days been having to shake it down and spin it around to try to get the stuff down to the bottom. So this is going to be this is on its way to being finished. I will save that for you for next month. It will be in the empties by next month, I am certain. All right, so the last of the pre-existing, last of the current prompts is for the Moon-Eyed people. The Moon-Eyed people were people that the Cherokee attribute with building some of the mounds and monuments that we find in northwest Georgia, western North Carolina, that southern Appalachian area. And so for the Moon-Eyed people, I brought in a palette. This is the Venus palette by Ditto, I guess. Got this in a BoxyCharm. And my goal was no pan left behind, and where is it? This shade right here is actually called Moon, and I was going to use this one 5 times, but use all the shades at least once. And this shade, Callisto, is so very beautiful. I had not used this palette before, and I do love it. This pink sparkle thing, not so much a fan of. It is just about straight up pink glitter. The one that I thought was going to be problematic, this one, kind of hard to see, but it is like gold and silver glitter, is actually much more a topper shade. It's not as chunky glitter as I thought it was going to be just looking at it in the pan. But this shade Callisto is just beautiful. It's creamy, and it's a kind of a pinkish to orangier flip to it, and it is just beautiful. So unfortunately, this is another win for both No Palette Left Behind, and I was able to use a palette I had not ever touched. And so this one is actually going to go back in the drawer, but at some point I will be pulling it out to try to finish off Mercury, which is this lid setting shade, and to get more use out of Callisto as well. So it makes 2 rollouts. So now I've got 2 rolling ins. So Southeast U.S., June 1st, in the Southeast U.S., all attention turns to the Western Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico. We'll actually look all the way over to the Eastern Pacific to look at the weather patterns coming off the west coast of Africa across the Cape Verde Islands, because June 1st is the official start of hurricane season. Big deal in the Southeast U.S. I think every area has their own natural disasters that they look for, we look for we look at hurricanes because that's what's going to cause us the most heartache during the summer. Hurricane season doesn't peak until September, but we start watching because things, I mean, we had the first named storm actually come out of the eastern Pacific across Mexico and across Florida last week. So it looks like it's getting cranked up early this year. So anytime there's natural disasters happen, stories tend to well up, tend to develop. And one of our local stories is about the gray man on Pawleys Island. Pawleys Island is on the northern coast of South Carolina. South Carolina, North Carolina, and Florida tend to get hit with hurricanes more often on the East Coast because of location. But Pawleys Island is farther up towards North Carolina. And the story about the gray man on Pawleys Island starts back in 1822. There was a young man who was going to visit his fiancée and her family on Pawleys Island, going from Charleston to Pawleys Island. And in the process, he was a couple of different versions of the story. One, he was racing with somebody. The other, there was a storm approaching and he was trying to get through before the storm hit. Either version, it ends, it's going to end badly for the young man. He got stuck in, we call it pluff mud, but it's almost like in the marsh, it's very sticky and gooey and just sucks you down in the mud. Anyway, he got stuck in the pluff mud and perished in the marsh and never got back to his fiancée in Pawleys Island. Needless to say, the fiancée was heartbroken. She took to bed because this is 1822 and that's what you're going to do. And she had fitful nights and wandered up and down the beach weeping, and she would say she had visions. She would see a man in the marsh, see a man, and that she assumed that she attributed to be her lost love. And her family finally just kind of they didn't know what to do with her because she was just beside herself. And so they decided to go take her to Charleston to see a doctor. Well, they knew a storm was coming as well. So they thought it was going to be a good time to go to Charleston. I don't know why, because Charleston floods downtown when it rains real hard or when the tide comes in. So I don't know. I love Charleston. It's one of my favorite places on the planet, but that's not where I would go if I thought the water was getting deep. That's a side note, wasn't it? Anyway, so they went to Charleston, and when they got home, she had seen the gray man on the way out of town. She had seen him. And when they got home, everything on Pawleys Island was destroyed except their house. So what people have attributed is when people see the gray man on Pawleys Island, one, something bad's coming up off the water. And seeing the gray man was actually kind of a good thing, because the people who saw the gray man, their property, their houses, and they were usually going to survive whatever the weather was going to be. So for gray man, the Pawleys Island gray man, we all know that the best thing to do when there's a storm like that coming is to get on out of there, to evacuate, like they tell you to. If the water's going to get deep and your house is going to fall in, don't hang around. Real easy decision to make. So I brought in something that I would be able to take with me. Now, I live far enough inland now that I wouldn't have to evacuate in the case of a hurricane like this. But I have lived most of my life in areas where that was a possibility. So I'm rolling in something new. I'm rolling in the Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette. This is perfect for travel because when you open it up, it has 5 eyeshadows, a blush, and a highlighter. So when I travel, I don't need anything but this right here. Unless I don't know, there's enough glitzy stuff in here. I mean, just the glare off some of those glitters is just um, quite impressive. So I could be really glamorous, or I could be um, have a more subdued work look. This is a really great palette for 6 in the morning trying to get ready for work because everything I need is right there. There are these two. These are cream to powder blush and highlighter. It's a really bronzy kind of blush, so I don't need an additional bronzer with that. So for this, I'm putting a usage goal on here for 10 uses. And I love this palette. We're going to visit my husband's sisters, brother and sisters in a week or so, and this is all I need to take as far as, color, decoration. All right, so the next thing that I'm rolling in honor of hurricane season is for the Bermuda Triangle, because the Bermuda Triangle gets so much, quote, love, unquote, that you can't talk about disasters on the east coast of the U.S. without talking about the Bermuda Triangle. And there are a lot of legends about things happening in the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is an area between Miami, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda. So it's this triangle off the east coast of the U.S. And all sorts of weird stuff happens there. There's stories of planes going down, never finding any debris, bodies, anything else. Ships that go down without a trace. People that fly in and out of there talk about the horrible things that happen with their compasses and their magnetics and electronics. Nobody knows why. It's just this weird thing that happens. Of course, the Coast Guard says that people don't go down in the Bermuda Triangle any more often than anywhere else on the east coast of the U.S. But when there are stories, it's really hard to put a damper on the stories. So I am rolling in something that is triangle shaped for the Bermuda Triangle, and I'm rolling in this blush from LYS. I think LYS actually stands for Love Yourself. That's the story behind it. This is one of their higher standard satin matte cream blushes, and this is in the shade Self Love. It is one of their darker shades, and it's just beautiful. Now, these blushes are very, very pigmented. It takes very little of this. So, just like in the Bermuda Triangle, if you go in unprepared, you're going to have a mess on your hands. I love this blush. It buffs out very easily, but I don't dip a brush in here unless it's this really tiny fine brush. Doesn't actually have very many bristles on it. It's a buffing brush, stippling brush, but you just barely touch it. I usually just tap my finger in there. Just tap, and I'll still get, I'm having trouble with my directions here. That's still way too much blush, and I just tapped my finger in there. However, it does buff out really nice, but it does not take much at all. And that's what I'm wearing today. So I love all the LYS products that I've tried. I have really enjoyed. I would like to get some of the other shades. I think Kindness is the lightest shade, and these products all have a really nice price point. So I am bringing this product in for a 20 use goal. So that is, and I love these products. So those are the two stories that I'm rolling in honor of hurricane season. So the Bermuda Triangle and the Gray Man of Polly's Island. All right, guys. So y'all have fun. Be safe. Wear your sunscreen, guys. It's June. It's the summer. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.